Okay, ladies and gentlemen, introducing first. Randy, told you about that man. Come on, hurry up. Look at that, go on, hurry. Rubbish. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, introducing first. Fighting at the people. He hails from Belgium, Norway. He's 27 years old. Starts 9.7 inches tall and weighing 152 pounds. He fights at the Hard Knocks MMA. But as a mixed martial arts record with 2 contests, 1 win and 1 loss. Let's hear it for Louis. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. He hails from Lutterworth. He's 22 years old, stands 5 foot 11 inches tall, and weighing 154 pounds. He fights out of Impact, and has a mixed martial arts record of 3 contests, 2 wins and 1 loss. Let's hear it for Elliott. This contest is fought over 3 3-minute rounds.
Come on, Elliot! Go on, Elliot. Go on, Elliot. Go on, Elliot.
So here comes lightweight action for you at Fight UK Amateur Championships 3. Local favourite Elliott, perhaps known famously for his giant killing affair at the last Fight UK against Lewis Harding.
Yeah, Elliott, as you say, Ben, a guy we've seen before, real crowd favourite, likes to bring it, likes to stand in there and bang. Let's see how this one goes. Oh, big shot from Lewis Harding. This one could be a cracker, Ben, early doors.
The fights we've seen Elliott win, he's won the fights with KOs, scored a big head kick not too long ago, and it was punches that took out Sam Hammonds at Fight UK Amateur Championships too. So I mean, a spinning back fist coming in there. I like the way how Harding set that one up. As Elliott throws a Superman punch over the top and now throws some short punches, and there's that head kick.
Very, very fast and furious start and a little scrappy, Ben. I'm sure the corners of both guys are going to be looking to just calm down, use a bit more technique. As I say that, we're moving into the grappling thing. Harding looked for a little ankle pick there, gave it up, now going back for the clinch. Elliott double unders here, Ben.
He's going to push his man up against the cage. Maybe it looked as if he was going to trip at one point if he could link the hands. He's got to be careful of the head there though. As Harding looks like for a second he was trying to swim around for a guillotine. Didn't quite have it on there, and it's Elliott resuming the grind with these knees up against the fence. Once again, he's got to be careful of the neck. That's twice as Elliott's let his neck in that bad position.
Yeah, this looks slightly tight, Ben. It looks to be troubling. Harding gives it up, looks for some knees. The neck is out there, Ben, though, like you say.
And something else you see as they break now at semi-pro is fighters, when they're able to lock those hands together with the gloves, the bigger gloves that we see at semi-pro make it more difficult to prise your hands through and break up a guillotine. If a guy locks a guillotine on you and he's got that grip, you've got much bigger gloves, so it's harder to get your hand through and get that counter. And that's what we're seeing from Elliott. He's not able to prise his hands through.
Yeah, that's it, Ben. And of course, you can't directly manipulate the glove, especially with such an experienced UFC referee in there, as we have at Fight UK and Leon Roberts. Bit of a battle of attrition here. These two guys sort of cancel each other out in the clinch. I like to see them separate because...
Oh, was that a low blow? I think it was.
Unintentional there, I think, Ben. Harding recognising it straight away, giving Elliott a pat on the back, a bit of a sorry. These things happen in MMA.
We do see it a lot, unfortunately. It's one of the bugbears that a lot of people have got about, especially these short knees that come in from the clinch. So often we see strikes go wayward. The referee Leon Roberts having a word. He knows obviously that it wasn't a deliberate strike, but what he's saying to Harding is the bottom line is that you're the one throwing the knees. You've got to be responsible for where they go. Understand that's not where you intended to go, but it went there all the same. You see, oh, is that another low blow? It seems off that inside leg kick. I think it is. That's two and 2 on the bounce. That is very, very unfortunate. Straight after the other one, Elliott doubled over in pain. This looks like a really bad one.
Yeah, he turned his back there, Ben, straight away. Obviously a very hard shot. Perhaps he hadn't recovered from the first one initially as well, it's got to be said. You know, he recovered to continue, but to take another strike there straight away, clearly in some discomfort. I'm not sure if he can carry on, Ben. I'm not sure if he can carry on from this point.
It's a very, very tough one, this. Like you say, compounded by the fact that he was only just recovering from a similar shot, similar type of incident. This time it was the inside leg kick, and another culprit, it has to be said, Dave, when we see these shots go low. Fighters looking to aim that shot at the inside of the thigh, and with motion, and with fighters moving in and fighters moving out.
Yeah, I mean, at the amateur level, Ben, there's an argument that if he can recover enough just to carry on learning about the sport and get more cage time. But I think from a professional fight, you see many fights stop. I remember Mirko Krokop, Alistair Overeem stopped in a similar situation, because at the end of the day, if it's going to affect your performance for the rest of the fight, why should you carry on? You know, he's clearly in some discomfort. Will he recover to 100%? I'm not so sure.
No, definitely, and like you say, it happens at all levels, where it might not be exactly what the fighter was intending, but if it comes to the point where that shot's gone in and it's an inadvertent foul, then obviously maybe we have seen fights go the no contest route. Alessio Sakara famously losing his UFC debut to Ronzilla Fairclough with a similar incident. Fairclough landed a hard inside leg kick, and Sakara was actually stretched it off in that fight. So I mean, you play the fighters, you often see fighters and commentators playing about the comedy of the situation when somebody getting struck low, but the bottom line is that there's a serious medical risk attached to these shots, and that's why fighters are given the extra time when these low blows occur.
Yeah, certainly. I once commentated a UCC show where a guy actually lost a testicle. It's a very serious condition, and I mean, anytime you get a strike down there, you've got to take your time, and you know, because it's not just the future of your fighting career, you know, it's the future of your personal life as well, Ben, at that point.
Liam Roberts giving Elliott all the time that he's got. He's got 5 minutes, obviously, under the rules, just to get his head back together. To that point where he's ready to continue. If he is, it looks like he's shaping a bit more like he's ready. He's back on his feet now. Obviously he's walking a little bit heavy, but he'll want to get this fight going again. And I'm sure once, not that I'm downplaying the situation, but once the adrenaline gets going, that he'll want to get back in there and throw those punches again. He throws a spinning back kick. A nice head kick over the top. Elliott, for me, Davis, striking looks a tad more classic, I'd say, probably, than Hardin's, who's throwing somewhat looping punches, which are great if they hit, but are easy to see coming in a lot of times.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's all about angles at that point. If he's throwing them straight, as I say that, end of the round, Elliott clearly still in some discomfort, but he's going to have a minute now to recover a bit further and see if he can come out for the next round. But yeah, I agree what you're saying about the stand-up. Elliott does look a bit more measured than Lewis Harding, but obviously he just needs to land one of those bombs that could change the course of this fight. As far as scoring the round, Ben, I mean, it's been so long since the start of the round, it's a struggle to even think of some of the action before, but as an initial feeling, I'd say Elliott, but then is that because there's more people shouting his name surrounding us now? I'm not sure. It's a very close round, that's for sure.
It's a tough one, and like you say, I think what you'll find is that the judges are really going to have been concentrating hard on that because of the massive gap. I mean, there was more gap than there was fighting, it seemed, at that point. And from a judging point of view, what you've really got to be making sure is that you just dropping those notes as you go along, so you know at what point what happened, so you have got a frame of reference, so you can see the round. Because Elliott, for me, probably landed the cleanest strikes. Lewis Harding, for me, was a little bit more aggressive. So I mean, it really is 6 of one and half a dozen of the other in a lot of respects, but very, very close fight. And Elliott is still in some discomfort.
Yeah, he really is, Ben. He's still clearly struggling with it, and I mean, that can affect all sorts of things, your power, your cardio. So credit to him for carrying on.
Once again, that looping right hand from Harding over the top to set up the clinch. It's very clear what his modus operandi is. He needs to get this fight to the floor. That's what he wants to do.
You often see that classic overhand loop, almost a fake punch into a takedown. Lots of fighters make good use of that technique. That's what Hardin's trying to emulate, I think. Looking for the takedown here on Elliott.
Good balance from Elliott. From Hardin's point of view, though, David, on a mental level, you've got to think that he's escaped 2 situations where he could have been given a doctor point under different situations. As he looks to work the clinch now, maybe land some strikes if he can as both fight. You've got to look at the fact that maybe mentally, is he considering pulling the strikes that he throws, specifically the low kicks and the knees, because you could enter that thing of overthinking those techniques. You've thrown 2 that have resulted in fouls. I'd be very surprised if he fouled again, that if he didn't get doctor point. Yeah,
which is a very difficult one as well, because if it's not intentional, you know, how can you dock the point? But as you rightly say, from his point of view, he's going to avoid those techniques, and in a striking battle that's been at range mostly, it is difficult for him, because Elliott is almost flicking that out there as a jab, and obviously his leg is a lot longer than Hardin's arm, so it's a very difficult position for Hardin. Now he throws a leg kick that lands. Maybe he's becoming a bit more comfortable with it again.
Throwing it on the outside now is Elliott looking to come forward. Elliott caught his man nicely on the counter there and throws a kick on the break. Make a good point about Elliott and his use of the kicks. I mean, it's clear to see that that's his biggest weapon. As Hardin comes in with that spinning back fist again, but doesn't really find it that cleanly. And now Elliott looking to close the range, and here comes some punches, a nice combination.
Yeah, I'd like to see Elliott push off here, Ben. I mean, he had the better of that little exchange of punches then, and this is what I was pulling guard now from Hardin. I didn't expect to see that, Ben. You rarely see that.
I make a very good point, David. Even rarer to see it in the amateur leagues, because as we've said, these rounds are shorter. And if Elliott can ride this round out on top with a few hammer fists and maybe even a little bit of positional work, he could very easily take it, because it's been a close round so far. Maybe Hardin's got something off his back that he hasn't shown yet. Maybe he's got a submission game. That's what he's looking for. To be fair, when the fight's been stood up, he's looked to close the distance and take the fight down.
Looking for some sort of rubber guard perhaps there, Hardin. As you say, Ben, it's a very, very risky tactic in these amateur 3-minute rounds to pull guard or, you know, be on your back, because so many guys are getting good at defense in that top position, you know, defending the arm bars, defending the triangles. So unless you've got really, really slick submissions, I say that, he looks like he might be looking for a triangle, Ben.
Elliott looks like he's got his hand in the way, he's blocking that leg that needs to come across the top to the back of the kneecap. But that's the end of the round as it played out, and you make a very good point there. I mean, the thing that was unusual about that for me was the fact that when Hardin went down, it wasn't even for a submission. Often you see guys jumping at maybe for a guillotine or even a triangle in certain cases, happy to go to the back because they're taking a shot at a submission. All Hardin did was fall backwards and pull a perfect sacrifice throw to end up in guard, but the problem was that he didn't really have anything to work from straight away, and I think that's what Elliott capitalised on.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you'll often see your guys, you know, the Nogueiras of the world and the guys at the top level, they're going to be looking for something straight away, whether that's a sweep or a submission. But just to take it and then almost just pull close guard, it was a very strange decision for me from Hardin. Again, another very, very tight round here. I wouldn't like to say which way that went. I'm leaning towards Elliott. Elliott being the busier man, I think, Ben, punches wise. But yeah, a very, very close lightweight contest here at Fight UK.
First time of the evening we've gone into the third and final round. Elliott in the black shorts with the ginger hair against Lewis Hardin with the myriad of tattoos, Dave. You see a cautious start from both fighters. Elliott throwing that kick. I like the technique on a lot of Elliott's kicks for me, Dave. He's impressed me with that. As much as he hasn't really found the mark, just the technique's been a lot of clean and there's been snap on those from start to finish.
Yeah, they'll obviously be catching the eyes of the judges in such a close bout. You've got to flick that leg out there, keep scoring, although it might not be damaging Hardin hugely. It's catching the eye of the judges. Hardin looking for that guillotine he had in the first round.
And once again, it's there again, Elliott several times. And here we see maybe jumping a little bit was Hardin jumping to try and get the guillotine, but he couldn't close it off. And now he's using the headlock control to throw some knees.
I mean, from the point of view, just referring back to the second round, I mean, if he pulled guard now with the guillotine, you'd certainly understand it. But content to land these knees, I think a lot of them are hitting the hand, but Elliott's struggling to get out of this position.
And now he pulls guard again, but once again he had the guillotine but lost it. And this is a really, really tough spot for Harding in a very, very close fight. You've got to question the validity of that tactically, really.
Yeah, I mean, at least he had the head on that occasion, Ben, so Elliott did well to pop out, but as you say, from Elliott's point of view, I'm pretty sure I had him taking 2 of those rounds. It was so close, and we are calling the fight, Ben, not judging. But, as I say, it could be reversal. Looking for a leg lock. Don't think they can twist over the knee, Ben. So you need a straight Achilles lock. I don't think a heel hook will be in the league.
No, you're right here. Any twisting leg lock, so obviously the straight knee bar and the straight Achilles we've got. Toe holds, obviously, and any heel hooks aren't actually allowed it. They're almost in a very strange position from both guys here, as it looks like Elliott looks like he's trying to free the arm a little bit, whereas Harding is looking like he's working for a leg at this point. But Elliott almost, if he could bring his legs down, almost he'd have an inverted triangle there, Dave. Very strange position this.
Don't often see an inverted triangle. Was it Toby Amada? I can't recall the last time. Very, very rare position. He looks to be locking that up, Ben. This would be absolutely amazing if we could see an inverted triangle here.
Inverted triangle, that is tight as well. That is very, very tight. Lewis Harding really struggling to hold on here. Elliott has got his arm through, but Harding doesn't seem to have the leverage, and it's actually bent the other way, and Elliott's pulled the arm free now, so now it's all on Harding to try and escape from that position. Because Elliott's got that squeeze on, he's got his legs locked on, and that looks very tight.
It's very tight.
Inverted triangle, unbelievable. Like you say, I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen this technique. For a guy to throw this out in the 3rd round of an amateur fight is simply unbelievable.
Absolutely sensational attempt from Elliott. Elliott here, and it's the end of the round. How disappointing from Elliott's point of view. He could have had a real unbelievable submission that would have had people talking for a long, long time. As it is, that one goes to the decision, Ben. Very close bout.
Very, very tough fight to call. It'd be interesting to see what the judges made of that as we go to the scorecards now. MC Andy Sledge just giving out the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a massive round of applause for both warriors. Come on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of hard-fought action, we go to our judges' scorecards. And our judges have rendered a split decision. Judge number 1 scores the bout 29-28 Harding. Judge number 2 scores the bout 29-28 Elliott. And judge number 3 scores the bout 30-28 in favour of your winner by split decision,